Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Linguistics, a grammatical rule or other linguistic feature that is found in all languages. Logic, a proposition that asserts something of all members of a class. Coupling that connects two rotating shafts allowing freedom of movement in all directions. In motor vehicles, a universal joint allows the drive shaft to move up and down as the vehicle passes over bumps. Of worldwide scope or applicability. Universal experience. A behavioral convention or pattern characteristic of all members of a particular culture or of all human beings. Some form of religion seems to be a human universal. Adapted to various purposes, sizes, forms, operations. Universal wrench. Applicable to or common to all members of a group or set. The play opened to universal acclaim. Linguistics, a grammatical rule or other linguistic feature that is found in all languages. Logic, a proposition that asserts something of all members of a class. Coupling that connects two rotating shafts allowing freedom of movement in all directions. In motor vehicles, a universal joint allows the drive shaft to move up and down as the vehicle passes over bumps. A sophisticated person who has traveled in many countries. Growing or occurring in many parts of the world. A cosmopolitan herb. Of worldwide scope or applicability. An issue of cosmopolitan import. Composed of people from or at home in many parts of the world, especially not provincial in attitudes or interests. His cosmopolitan benevolence impartially extended to all races and to all creeds. Concerned with promoting unity among churches or religions. Ecumenical thinking. Of worldwide scope or applicability. The shrewdest political and ecumenical comment of our time. A general officer of the highest rank. The head of a religious order or congregation. Of worldwide scope or applicability. A fact about the whole, as opposed to particular. He discussed the general but neglected the particular. Affecting the entire body. A general anesthetic. Applying to all or most members of a category or group. The general public. Command as a general. We are generaled by an incompetent. Not specialized or limited to one class of things. General studies. Prevailing among and common to the general public. The general discontent. Somewhat indefinite. Bearing a general resemblance to the original. Concerned with promoting unity among churches or religions. Of worldwide scope or applicability. Spanning or extending throughout the entire world. Involving the entire earth, not limited or provincial in scope. Of worldwide scope or applicability. Spanning or extending throughout the entire world. Worldwide distribution. Involving the entire earth, not limited or provincial in scope. Of worldwide significance. Of worldwide scope or applicability. An intensive examination testing a student's proficiency in some special field of knowledge. Broad in scope. A comprehensive survey of world affairs. Including all or everything. Comprehensive coverage. capable of adapting, of becoming or being made suitable, to a particular situation or use. To succeed, one must be adaptable. Linguistics. A rule describing, or prescribing, a linguistic practice. Measuring stick consisting of a strip of wood or metal or plastic with a straight edge that is used for drawing straight lines and measuring lengths. Prescribed guide for conduct or action. A principle or condition that customarily governs behavior. It was his rule to take a walk before breakfast. Exercise authority over, as of nations. Decide with authority. A rule or law concerning a natural phenomenon or the function of a complex system. The right-hand rule for inductive fields. Something regarded as a normative example. Violence is the rule, not the exception. Mathematics. A standard procedure for solving a class of mathematical problems. He determined the upper bound with Descartes' rule of signs. Be larger in number, quantity, power, status or importance. Dominance or power through legal authority. The rule of Caesar. Decide on and make a declaration about. A basic generalization that is accepted as true and that can be used as a basis for reasoning or conduct. Keep in check. Rule one's temper. Any one of a systematic body of regulations defining the way of life of members of a religious order. The rule of Saint Dominic. Directions that define the way a game or sport is to be conducted. He knew the rules of chess. Have an affinity with, of signs of the zodiac. Mark or draw with a ruler. Rule the margins. The duration of a monarch's or government's power. During the rule of Elizabeth. Linguistics. A rule describing, or prescribing, a linguistic practice. A proposal offered for acceptance or rejection. The act of making a proposal. An offer for a private bargain, especially a request for sexual favors. A task to be dealt with. Securing adequate funding is a time-consuming proposition. Logic. A statement that affirms or denies something and is either true or false. Suggest sex to. She was propositioned by a stranger at the party. The act of pairing a male and female for reproductive purposes. The casual couplings of adolescence. A mechanical device that serves to connect the ends of adjacent objects. A connection, like a clamp or vise, between two things so they move together. A mechanical device that serves to connect the ends of adjacent objects. Something regarded as a normative example. Being approximately average or within certain limits in e.g. intelligence and development. A perfectly normal child. Conforming with or constituting a norm or standard or level or type or social norm, not abnormal. Serve wine at normal room temperature. Forming a right angle. In accordance with scientific laws. Orthodoxy as a consequence of being conventional. Something regarded as a normative example. The convention of not naming the main character. The act of convening. A large formal assembly. Political convention. Diplomacy, an international agreement. A customary way of operation or behavior. They changed their dietary pattern. A perceptual structure. A visual pattern must include not only objects but the spaces between them. Something intended as a guide for making something else. A pattern for a skirt. A decorative or artistic work. The path that is prescribed for an airplane that is preparing to land at an airport. The traffic patterns around O'Hare are very crowded. Something regarded as a normative example. Graphical representation, in polar or Cartesian coordinates, of the spatial distribution of radiation from an antenna as a function of angle. Plan or create according to a model or models. A model considered worthy of imitation. The American Constitution has provided a pattern for many republics. Form a pattern. These sentences pattern like the ones we studied before. A group of symbols that make a mathematical statement. Something regarded as a normative example. His formula for impressing visitors. Mathematics. A standard procedure for solving a class of mathematical problems. He gave us a general formula for attacking polynomials. A representation of a substance using symbols for its constituent elements. Directions for making something. A conventionalized statement expressing some fundamental principle. A liquid food for infants. Mechanism that transmits power from the engine to the driving wheels of a motor vehicle. Mechanism that transmits power from the engine to the driving wheels of a motor vehicle. The humanistic study of language and literature. The scientific study of language. A system of reasoning. Reasoned and reasonable judgment. It made a certain kind of logic. The branch of philosophy that analyzes inference. The principles that guide reasoning within a given field or situation. Economic logic requires it. The system of operations performed by a computer that underlies the machine's representation of logical operations.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.